Today, I'm going to show you how to make masks out of OR Blue Wrap. If you were to search for this, it would be sterilization blue wrap. People just call it OR Blue Wrap. This is what sterile instruments are wrapped in. The great thing about this is that it's polypropylene, which means it's a type of plastic, and it is designed to be permeable to gases because that's how we can sterilize instruments, which means it's breathable. It's also water resistant and is designed to keep sterile instruments sterile, which means it doesn't allow bacteria and viruses to permeate. So I first heard about using these OR Blue Wraps on Facebook. There are a couple nurses in Colorado Springs who demonstrated how to make these, and they were using them as covers over N95s. Now, one of the benefits of using this blue wrap is that it's readily available. Any operating room will have it. And typically, once it's been used on sterile instruments, it just gets thrown away. There are recycling programs, but for all intents and purposes, it is trash. But because this material is waterproof and can be sterilized, it has potential as far as covering our existing PPE. I do believe because it is water resistant, it is a step above simple cloth. It's up to your individual hospital whether these are allowed. Currently at my hospital, these are not allowed, but as the situation continues to evolve, that may change. There's currently no information about the filtration abilities of these masks, so they cannot replace an N95, but they can extend the life of N95s as we're currently being instructed to continue to use them as long as they are not visibly soiled or compromised. I was able to obtain two different sizes. So this is my small one, which is 36 inches by 35.5 inches. And here's my larger one, which is 44.5 by 45 inches. The pattern that I found online, there was a group of nurses in Colorado Springs that demonstrated how to make these, and they took pictures of their pattern, which is 7.5 inches by 7 inches. And so this is what I cut out in this piece of paper here. If you do the math, you can cut 36 of these rectangles out of the larger sheet. Their pattern also calls for a 30 to 34 inch string for the ties. And so that I thought was perfect for the 36 inch sheets. So what I did is I cut the larger sheet into 36 7 by 7.5 inch rectangles, which would be this. So I ended up with 36 of these after I cut that all up. And then I took the smaller sheet and I cut it into 1 inch strips, full length, the 2-ply. So this is what it looked like. That gave me enough material to assemble 36 masks. So the first step is to make a hem at the bottom of your mask. So I basically just folded this up about 1/4 inch, and then I sewed across there. And that's what that looks like, a nice little hem there. The next step is to make the nose bridge. What was recommended was pipe cleaners. One, they're kind of spongy, which makes it comfortable, and they're flexible. So what I did was I folded it in half and then sort of twisted them together. Then you just lay it on your mask here. And I have these little wonder clips at home. I prefer them to pins. So you pin that in place, and then you just run a stitch across here to hold that. That's what it looks like once you've made that seam. So now, here's your sheet. The next step is the pleats. I think you could be really precise about this, but if you're making a lot, I just kind of made them and went. So I found the easiest is to pleat one side and then just sort of bring that across to the other side. And then the same thing, I sort of just ran it across and pleated. So then what I did to hold my pleats is I just sewed the edge here just to hold the pleats in place. And so that's what it looked like when it was all sewn. Okay. So the next step is your strips. So I had already cut a bunch of these ahead of time, but you can see that they're connected there at the ends. So all I did was I took scissors and cut these little squares off both sides. So now I have 2 strips. So then what I did is I just found the middle of my strip here and the middle of my mask and just folded it over and then pinned it in place on both sides. And then all I did was I started at one end as if it were a bias tape, and I sewed all the way down and enclosed the edge of my mask all the way through. So here's my completed mask with my ties attached. So as you can see, here's the nose bridge. So that fans out there, and this forms to the bridge of the nose. And that's how you make a mask out of OR Blue Wrap.